What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Dynasty Dweebs. I know it's been a while if you forgot our names. My name's Austin Biederman, and as always, I am joined with Jim Brooks.
Hello, how's it going?
What's up, Jim? So, yeah, we took a little break,
Having a wonderful day.
Just had some stuff going on, but we're right back into it. Dynasty Dweebs, baby. Jim, what are we talking about today?
The top 25 running back dynasty rankings, I believe.
Yep. Talking about top 25 dynasty running back rankings. So when we analyze these running backs, we're looking at a 3-year analysis, not just for this first year, obviously, because then it would make like Derrick Henry like a top 6 running back. But in a dynasty perspective, it bumps him down a couple spots. So I have prepared a tier list along with a ranking list 1 through 25, and Jim is going to agree or disagree with where I have the players in their spots. Are you ready, Jim?
Mm-hmm. Of course.
Okay, so of course we're going to start with the.
So you're starting at 25 or 1?
I'm starting with 1.
See, I feel like
Okay, and this is my elite tier. These are my elite running backs. We're judging this from a half-point PPR perspective, and to remind you, this is Dynasty. So, my 1 through 4, I have Christian McCaffrey, Zeke, Saquon Barkley, and then Alvin Kamara. Any arguments there?
Not really. I mean, the only one you could really possibly argue is Kamara at this point. But if I'm going into a draft, realistically, you're always going to see McCaffrey 1. If he slips, you're getting a complete steal. But it's between Saquon and Zeke at 2 and 3. And then generally, I think no matter what, I take Kamara at 4. I mean, there's not another running back, I think, that I would probably take there at this point.
Yeah, I mean, the only argument you can make against Kamara is, like, Drew Brees is going to retire maybe this year. But, like, what other argument do you have? Like, the guy's elite. He's a great pass catcher. He's a great running back.
I mean, the only other option, honestly, I think – well, that was interesting.
What the fuck just happened?
Don't know what that was. I don't know. I just reconnected to Zoom. But I think a lot of people might argue that they would take CEH there now at this point because there's so much hype involved.
Did you say you're taking CH at 4?
No, I'm saying I think there are some people that would be willing to do that. I truly believe that. I'm sure there are a bunch of people that would.
I mean, more power to them, I guess, because there's no way in hell I'm doing that.
I mean, I've seen in some drafts that I've watched where CEHs went like 6th, so I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility.
Okay, I mean, so like you'd put anyone else besides CEH that you could like make an argument for?
I mean, Dalvin Cook, depending on his contract situation.
Dude, he's pissing me off.
It's
his
just a
value,
really messy
like I do
situation
not want to have picks 4 to 6 at all. I'm not
honestly,
a fan.
If I'm not top 4 in the draft, I'm not really loving it this year. But
okay, well, let me move on to my A tier. So we got Joe Mixon, CEH, Josh Jacobs, Nick Chubb, and then Derrick Henry at 10.
Mm-hmm.
Any questions for me there?
Are you worried about Nick Chubb possibly falling out of favor? Not falling out of favor per se. I mean, he obviously just had this concussion where he cleared protocol a day ago now. But towards the end of last year when Kareem Hunt came back into the fold, he kind of lost a lot of snap percentages. His numbers had been kind of decreasing from there. Are you worried that he ends up kind of he'll obviously be fantasy relevant, that's without a question, but will he be this top 10 running back that we've seen he has the capabilities to do with Kareem Hunt there?
Right. So the way I look at it, so like if we're looking at like a 3-year perspective, I don't think Kareem Hunt remains with the team. I think eventually Kareem Hunt's going to have a starting role on another team. As of this year goes, I still think that Chubb is going to be the main guy. Like, he's going to get the 70% work, and I think Kareem Hunt's going to be 30 to 40%. Maybe Chubb drops down a little below 70. I mean, do you think it could really go below 70% workload?
It's really hard to tell. I mean, you also have to kind of imagine there is a world where Kareem Hunt isn't actually picked up by other teams just because of the history he had, in which I'm not going to get into it, but for why he was released from Kansas City in the first place.
Right.
I'm sure at this point, because it's 2 years now, and a lot of people are just kind of forget about it. So I'm sure he could find another potential landing spot where he could be the starting back and return to what he did in Kansas City. But I'm worried about Nick Chubb.
I mean, it's kind of it's all speculation, really. Like,
obviously, yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
so
that's what all it really is. And
I think he's still like he's a guaranteed
camps.
low end RB1.
Mm-hmm. That's where he's drafted as. So I mean,
I feel pretty
honestly,
fine with taking him like towards the end of the first, top of the second.
Yeah, I mean,
I think that's where he should.
I think
fall.
a lot of it. I think he can fall anywhere between like the 10th overall pick to. I don't think past 15th, honestly. Like the latest he's probably going is like 205, 203, 204, somewhere in that range. You would imagine.
Yeah. So how do you feel about me having Mixon at 5? Like, do you agree with that or do you disagree with that?
You know, considering how productive Joe Mixon can be. I mean, last year he was very frustrating early on into the season.
Frustrating? No, I mean, is that your only word for how bad it was?
In the beginning of the season, obviously he picked up late when he had some more favorable matchups, and his strength of schedule just towards the latter half of the year obviously helped him. He's just Cincinnati's had such a terrible offensive line, and the fact that he was able to produce the numbers that he had been producing the last 2 years kind of shows that with improvement to the line that he could truly become a top 5 running back in this league. I don't really have any problems with it. It's just all comes down to preference at that point.
Yeah, like my reasoning is there's no Kareem Hunt on Cincinnati. And I think that I don't know if like the offense is going to be electric this year with Joe Burrow. But I think that, like, maybe not this year, but next year, like, they could really have something going.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of potential in this team.
I like the upside a lot.
To really
That's
be a
why
juggernaut.
I have him at 5. I think, like, this team, like, the Bengals can really turn it around. I think that it could be a great offense.
Absolutely.
Like the most running backs struggle in a bad offense. It's just how it goes. Yeah. Like, last year, the Bengals' offense was bad. Joe Mixon wasn't good. It's just how it goes. That's why people like CEH so much, like Clyde Edwards-Helaire so much. He's on the Chiefs. A freaking bum could be the running back on the Chiefs, and people would love him. I mean, Damian Williams. Right? Like,
he's no slouch. Come on.
I'm just saying. Like,
but, I mean, obviously things are completely different with CEH and Damian Williams opting out.
Yeah. Do you think that's fair that I have CEH over Josh Jacobs? How do you feel about that? Are you in on that?
Over Josh Jacobs?
Yeah. What do you think?
At this current moment, I'm someone who really didn't want to believe in the CEH hype, but after there's so many things just falling in his favor.
That's what I'm saying. Like, after Williams dropped,
not only the landing spot. Yeah, that's what kind of hit for me for CEH. Not just because he was on the Chiefs, which obviously is a phenomenal landing spot. It's just the fact that Damian Williams decided to opt out, and I kind of believe that Damian Williams ended up screwing himself for the rest of his career because of that. Because it's Clyde Edwards-Helaire's show to run at this point, unless he just entirely shits the bed. But
right. But, I mean, we saw what Kareem Hunt did with this offense. I think that CEH definitely has just as great a chance as being – I mean, the dude literally could finish like a top 10 running back this year. There's no question.
Absolutely.
So I think that So I'm a big Josh Jacobs guy. Like, and
Yep.
I know like people are kind of like, dude, why are you worried about? Like, I talked to some other people about the theoretic pick, and they're like, I'm not worried about it at all. Like, he's old, he's just there. Like, but like
He's a pass
his,
catching back.
I know like his presence in the NFL has just been a pass catching back. Like, you don't just pick a guy like that up not to use him.
Yeah, and it's a 1-year contract with the Raiders. I mean, I think that's all it really is. It's just to have a better pass catching back. Not that they don't believe Josh Jacobs can do it, because I mean, you heard all the kind of reports that he was going to be a.
Maybe it's just like they don't want him to be like the 2-minute drill scat back or something like that.
I mean, it's probably better for him in reality because he already gets a great amount of volume in just the rushing game. Now, obviously, for fantasy, you want him to also get the targets, but to preserve his career as
he was
runner.
injured last year. He got injured last year already, so.
Yeah, he played through a bunch of injuries. I mean, wasn't it like something in his shoulder,
rotator cuff or something?
Yeah, that he was playing through.
Yeah, I mean, and he might have played a lot better. 100%.
Can either be alarming or exactly, or he can just blow everyone out of the water if he's actually playing healthy.
Yeah. Derrick Henry at the 10th spot. I'm pretty comfortable with having him there. I think that's respectable.
Yeah, I think Derrick Henry falls into the second round in a lot of drafts this year. And
yeah, for startup dynasty,
I think
100%.
Yeah. Or even in redraft, I think he does sometimes. But I think people just don't love – I mean, they love the volume, but they're scared of it.
Honestly, I'm not. The guy's like just so like he did it last year. I think he's fine.
He's a tank.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he's not a pass catching back. That's not his thing. So are we expecting to see another season where he gets 300 attempts, averages 5 yards carry? The big thing, I think, was the 16 touchdowns, obviously. That's going to be hard to replicate. I mean, he had 12 the year before.
Like close to that. Like, he'll be in the range.
But does that make him – I guess that pushes him further down the range because you just have to
let's talk about the A- tier, and then you can tell me if you think any of these guys should be bumped in front of him. Okay, so moving on to so this is 11. So that's my A- is spots 11 through 16. Jonathan Taylor, Austin Eckler, Miles Sanders, DeAndre Swift, J.K. Dobbins, Aaron Jones at 16. So I could see arguments for Eckler. I don't think ahead
of Derrick Henry there. But
I could see arguments for Eckler just because with Melvin Gordon gone, if it was the Eckler show the whole last year, it would have been a different story. But I don't know how they're going to utilize.
Yeah, I think he would have.
Justin Jackson.
I think you honestly could have. Eckler could have competed for. No, I don't want to say he would have caught McCaffrey because that's just.
But he still would have finished better than he would have.
Freakish. Yeah, I think he could have been number 2. I mean, he was number 4 in PPR last year, but. I mean, he was already so phenomenal, and I think I think we're either going to have a better season out of Eckler or a drastically worse season. I don't think he's going to kind of be – I mean, maybe he could be around what he was last year. He's obviously not a guy who runs the ball. He's a pass-catching back, which you love in PPR. He had 92 receptions last year. So in a team where it's probably going to be led by Tyrod Taylor for at least the near future, is he just going to be basically giving the ball to Eckler and Keenan Allen the whole time? Hunter Henry, of course, also.
I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. I mean,
I think you could. I think it's possible you can put Eckler ahead of Henry. Of course.
Okay. I mean, I'm not taking him over Henry just because why would you? There's no question marks with Henry, and Eckler's 1 year less old. So I don't think it matters. I mean, yeah. That's just my reasoning. 13, Miles Sanders. I mean, do you think Jonathan Taylor is respectable at 11, though? I think he's going to take the role.
I think
Mac. I think he's running the show.
I think Jonathan Taylor year 2 is going to be completely like.
He's going to be disgusting.
I think you're honestly rating these. It's so hard to rate rookies, especially when they actually haven't even still played a game yet. But Jonathan Taylor has so much hype surrounding him as well.
Dude,
just like a bunch of the running backs that are drafted this year, like the ones you said, DeAndre Swift and J.K. Dobbins. But I think a lot of people are very confident in the fact that Jonathan Taylor is going to be a dominant back in this league.
Yeah, I'm just so confident with Taylor. Like, I think he's just gonna take the show over Mac. I just think like, I mean, he might not, but
the one guy I'm kind of still debating on is DeAndre Swift. I think it's still possible that Kerryon could kind of be the guy for a little bit.
But like, for like dynasty perspective, he's not. I don't think Kerryon has much longer on the Lions, anyways.
I think it's kind of tough because if I was going to choose between Marlon Mack or Kerryon, I would take Marlon Mack every time. However, I would definitely take Jonathan Taylor over DeAndre Swift.
Yeah, I mean, that's respectable. Would you rather have Sanders? Would you take Miles Sanders over Swift and Dobbins?
Oh, God. I'm just not a big Sanders guy, but I also think at this point, I know you can't even say like it's crazy. Like, we've had 1 year of Miles Sanders. It's not like he's fucking chopped liver and he's already old as dirt. Like, people just love the new shiny toys.
No, my problem is like I'm like super into like what team they play for, because you know like what you're gonna get usually with the team. Like, teams kind of stay with the trends that they do over the years, and like that's why everyone's like Miles Sanders, because he stays in a committee backfield. Like, they stay with the committee backfield, and that's the problem. So I don't know. I'm just like, if I can, like, there's just players that you're going to avoid. I'm trying to avoid Sanders. I don't know if I wouldn't take Swift or Dobbins over him, and that's why I have Sanders at 13, because I know I'm getting a player that's definitely going to have the reps. He has the starting role as of now. So
I don't see him losing the starting role to any of the other running backs in the back.
Yeah, I don't think so either. There's not a chance. All right, and then my 16th was Aaron Jones. You cool with where he's at on my list?
I'll say Freeman isn't signing there, and Aaron Jones, but everyone's worried about if he's going to get a new contract in Green Bay, and I feel like he actually is going to be staying in Green Bay. It looks like.
I think so too. They've released a statement saying they have enough room for the cap for him. So I mean, just saying that itself makes it kind of seem like that they're interested. It just depends on how he plays, and depends on how Dylan plays also. If Dylan plays just as well as Aaron Jones, what's the point of keeping Aaron Jones?
They're two different backs. That's the thing, though.
Yeah, I know.
Because one's obviously a big power back, and Aaron Jones is a 5'9" midget. Aaron Jones finished number 2 in PPR, 3 in standard. It's kind of criminal him at 16, I feel like. But it's just there's so many guys you expect to do better than him.
Well, don't get me wrong. In redraft, I would have him up a couple spots for sure. He'd probably be closer to my top 10.
Obviously, all these rookies, it's just you're projecting these rookies to be studs. Yeah. And then the fact that he's already going into his 4th year with some uncertainty still, it's kind of speculative.
See, that's why like players like Henry and Eckler just get the edge over Aaron Jones. They have established roles on their team. Like, they're not going to lose the roles that they have because they didn't show anything in the offseason that they're going to take those away. Eckler is going to remain a pass-catching back no matter what and get some carries, and Derrick Henry is going to be the guy no matter what. And then Aaron Jones is 25, so, I mean, we'll see. It really depends on how Dylan plays this year. If A.J. Dillon's a freaking monster, then it's going to be a little scary for Aaron Jones owners. I mean,
Who cares?
you gotta be okay. You gotta. Everyone's gonna have a hunch. I know there's a lot of Aaron Jones fans out there. I'm sure there's a guy that's in your league that's gonna take him anyways. So my biggest thing is just if you have a question about the player, just try to avoid it if you can.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's move on to the B tier list. We got Cam Akers, David Montgomery, Leonard Fournette, and Drizzy Kenyon Dre.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
I think a lot of people are going to come at you for Kenyon Drake being rated so low.
Yeah, I think so too. But with the boot injury, he went down a couple spots. Maybe Chase Edmonds gets a couple looks.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people hyping up Chase Edmonds with that.
But so Cam Akers, I was super low on him until the Darrell Henderson injury.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of on the train now. It's going to be interesting. I don't know how the Rams will shake it out because what they saw with Gurley. But guy's 21, man. Give him the load. Yeah. Just give him it all. Give him the volume.
There's some things that I don't love about looking at the news articles that just are the most recent for Sleeper and whatnot. And like, for example, the one for Cam Akers, like this is something that I feel like you could put on any running back, and you shouldn't read too much into some things that you are reading. Like, for example, the Cam Akers one says he fumbles in his scrimmage during Saturday's scrimmage.
What about Ronald Jones dropping 4 passes?
Yeah, I mean, that's also very alarming for all the Rojo truthers and whatnot. But I just feel like you shouldn't read into things like this, for example. Now, Ronald Jones with 4 passes and
that's bad.
Yeah, I understand that. That is
Cam Akers is a first-year player. Ronald Jones has experience. So
I
understand what you're saying.
Just saying Akers lost a fumble during Saturday's scrimmage.
That's not a big deal to me. No, I don't think that matters.
I mean, I'm sure running backs fumble in practice, not all the time because they're obviously professionals at this sport and whatnot. But like, people are bound to fumble.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I mean, if the guy's first year in the league, he's going to get a little nervous here and there, of course.
I think he is with the hamstring injury to Darrell Henderson. It really just opens the backfield for Cam Akers now that it's basically between him and Malcolm Brown.
I mean, he just has to shine in the training camp. That's all. Because I'm sure Henderson will be ready by week 1. But also, it just depends how many reps he's getting in to start and know the offense. That's all.
Yeah, and with Malcolm Brown, it's Sleeper is from Waiverwire. It says Malcolm Brown was starting with the first team offense during the scrimmages. So maybe they're pumping the brakes on Cam Akers and letting the veteran kind of let the rookie ease into the league, not just thrust him into action instantly.
Yeah. Okay, moving on to 18 with David Montgomery. Dude, I'm ready. Like, let's go. This is it. He's going to be a beast this year, Jim. I saw a video. The dude was plowing people over.
Yep.
I mean, he was destroying. Did you see that video?
I did.
He was a freaking train.
David Montgomery is known for just destroying people, breaking tackles. That's what he did.
Only problem with me
his rookie year was very underwhelming.
Yeah, him and Matt Nagy, bro. That's the problem. And Cohen's there. I'm fine with Cohen being the 3-down back. It's just they got that O-line wasn't too great. David Montgomery's 1 and 2 punch, man. I think he could finish top 12. We'll see.
I think the volume's there. I mean, he had 240 attempts last year. It's just he averaged 3.6 per carry, and that hinders him.
Yeah, I know. And they don't even know who the quarterback is yet, and that's a big question mark.
Yeah, you see all these reports coming out that they're alternating as starters, but there's a lot of players coming out with praise for Mitch Trubisky in training camp.
Yeah, I saw the Cordell Patterson thing.
There's been a lot of players that have come out showing that apparently Trubisky is like got a new fire lit under him, and maybe that's partly from Nick Foles being signed there anyway.
Yeah,
but
we'll see.
I think it's very interesting. It's kind of like what you saw out of New England with Belichick saying that they could possibly be using all 3 quarterbacks that they have at their disposal, which I think is a recipe for disaster. But
yeah, I agree. Okay, so I really want to hear your takes on Fournette, and then we'll talk about Drake. So you
have Fournette lower than that, right?
Fournette's at number 19, yeah, after Montgomery. So my
Okay.
problem with Fournette is just like I don't even know. He's injury prone, but like he's very talented. He's really good running back. It just never works out for the guy. Like
He's entering his last year of his rookie deal. Realistically,
at no means is
who
he a
picks
bad
him up?
player. I don't know.
I feel like he stays in Jacksonville, honestly.
Yeah, I think he has to have a good year though.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of a
And
make or break.
you say he's injury prone, but there's a lot of guys who've missed time like he has. I mean, he missed one game last year, which was the last game of the season, which I don't know if he was hurt or they just sat him, but
yeah,
I can't remember. But then he missed half the season in 2018 with like a hip injury or something, like lower body injury. I can't remember. And then he missed 3 games his rookie year, but he still finished top 10 in both standard and PPR. So I don't know that I really like Fournette this year because I think there's a bunch of guys in a startup when you're drafting into like the 3rd and 4th round where you're getting into the Gurleys, the Fournettes, the Melvin Gordon, Chris Carson, and all these guys are falling in there who can potentially move up and be an RB1 potential player.
That's why I'm a really big fan of this B- tier that we're about to talk about. I have, but yeah, I agree. Fournette is one of those guys you could end up finishing top 10. It depends on how the Jacksonville Jaguars do. I mean, the team really still isn't that good. That's why I'm a little worried. I think they're going to be passing the ball a lot. They're going to be playing catch up.
But in reality, he finished 7 in PPR, 13 standard last year with basically the same team. I mean, they added a couple. They
Defense
added
is a little
Laviska
worse.
Shenault. Yeah, but I mean, offensively, they're kind of looking the same. That giving the starting role to Gardner Minshew, it looks like. I mean, Leonard Fournette's obviously still there. They have Chark for another year to improve. They drafted Laviska Shenault. It's kind of looking like the same offense, realistically. So I think you can kind of count on Fournette as long as he does play in the games to be a near top 10 back. If not, he is a top 10 back.
Yeah, like he's another one of those guys. Like, please, everyone watching this, remember this is a dynasty ranking. Like, if Fournette, this is redraft, Fournette is easily going before J.K. Dobbins and DeAndre Swift for me. That's no doubt in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
But since this is dynasty, we don't know if the Jacksonville Jaguars will re-sign Fournette or he will move on next year. That's a big question mark for me. I'd rather have a rookie like Dobbins or Swift that could be a beast of a player towards the end of this year or next year. So, moving on to Kenyon Drake, my number 20 in the list. I'm just not feeling it. I'm really not. I think this team is going to be pass heavy. I think the Cardinals are going to be super pass heavy.
Kenyon Drake has not been.
Dude, he was good towards the end of the year. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
like, he was good.
The last 3 weeks of the season was where he really shined. He's not going to be a workhorse with just rushing attempts, but he also gets a fair enough amount of receiving work that it makes him a solid pick no matter what. I just don't think he's going – like I've said in the past that I think he's kind of where he should be. He finished 17th in PPR last year, and that's just kind of the range I feel like he falls in between that 13 to 20 range. And I just don't see him being an RB1. But he can be a very reliable.
By no means am I comfortable with him being
2.
my first running back off the board for my dynasty team. Like, no way, man.
And just because this is kind of going through my mind, I saw some guy on Twitter, I can't remember who it was, who said that Christian Kirk was going to outscore DeAndre Hopkins this year on that team.
How would that even happen? Like,
I don't know. That just I was very intrigued by that tweet.
All right. Let's get into my last and final tier, the B- tier, and this is really my favorite one because if you want to wait in the draft and pick players up, I think this is your best bet right here. And like you could easily win the league with some of these guys because they could emerge as RB1s easily, no doubt.
Mm-hmm.
So Melvin Gordon, number 21. He's so low in my dynasty rankings because he's 27 years old. These are kind of older guys. Number 22, Gurley, 26 years old. Number 23, Chris Carson, 25 years old. Number 24, James Conner, 25. And last but not least, 25. My 25th spot is Devin Singletary, he is there at 22 years old, and he's there because of the draft pick of Zach Moss.
I think it's I still think it's so bad that we call these guys at 27 years old. But
I'm okay. That's not
it's
the
just
only thing.
wear
They
and
also
tear.
have Phil. They have Philip Lindsay too.
Yeah.
So
I know. Yeah, and then
so let me I'll give my reasoning for why they're where they are.
Yeah.
So Gordon is 21 because he's at number 21 spot for me because of his age. He doesn't have too many years left in the league, really, and we don't know what Philip Lindsay's going to do. Todd Gurley, I have no idea, man. This is he's a great player, but the injuries are way too iffy for me. Carson, great running back, injuries. Connor, great running back, injuries. Have a couple younger guys behind him. It's kind of funny that 3 of these guys in this tier all have injury problems.
yeah, I mean,
it's a coin toss. It's literally a coin toss.
Yeah, it really is. I think the most reliable pick to go with is Chris Carson, but he is coming off that bad hip injury.
I think I'd rather have Gordon. Even in Dynasty startup, I wouldn't mind having him for 2 years, like this year or next year, and then whatever happens,
and then
happens.
We look, and I know Gurley has like the degenerative knees and whatever, but he really hasn't missed that much time throughout the 5 years he's played. He missed 3 games his rookie year, 1 game his third year, 2 his fourth year, and then 1 game last year.
Yeah, I mean, dude, he could finish a top 10 running back. He's one of those guys that he can do it. He has the talent. He's done it before.
Mm-hmm.
So my biggest
just
question
worrisome
is like James Conner. He's on his last year of his deal. They're probably going to run to the ground, right? And he doesn't do too well with volume right now.
I don't really see James Conner getting re-signed by the Steelers, but
I don't either. They drafted Anthony McFarland out of Maryland. They have Benny Snell Jr. What's the point of keeping him? He's not like anything. I mean, he's good, but he's not amazing.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about Singletary?
Singletary just in the 1 year he did play, he didn't get all the work. So it's really hard to say where.
Well, most rookie running backs don't just come in and get all the work.
I mean, if your name's Saquon.
Sure, but no one was expecting him to get all the work.
Yeah.
And I honestly think we need to look at this in a more positive outlook. Zach Moss might not really hurt his value. I don't think Devin Singletary's a 3-down back.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he is at all. I think that, I mean, a dual threat backfields do well all the time.
Yeah, we've seen it countless times.
Yeah. I mean, people do love having the
technically
the one guy,
in what he did last year, he averaged 5.13 yards per carry, which is phenomenal. He only had the 2 touchdowns, which isn't ideal, but
yeah, Josh Allen being the quarterback, that really hurts him.
Yeah, because he will take a couple of rushing touchdowns away. But I think in the middle half of the season, that Singletary definitely had his shining moments. Now, looks like it was against – well, I mean, his best game against Washington, but, yeah. I think he has the room to get more volume now that Frank Gore's gone because he's just a big vulture.
Yeah, I agree. We'll see how Zach Moss pans out. I think Singletary has the upper hand right now. Dude's only 22. Whoever plays better in training camp, obviously, but I think Singletary is going to pretty much get the higher percentage of carries.
Yeah.
But
I think they'll let Zach Moss be the pass catcher.
We'll see. I don't think either one of them's like heavier or bigger than the other by much.
Zach Moss is like 20 pounds heavier, 2 inches taller.
Oh, that's he's bigger for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Singletary's a little bigger than that. But I think that about wraps it up for today. You guys got to listen to us talk about 1 through 25 rankings for Dynasty. I hope everyone's doing well in their drafts. Hopefully this gives you a little better picture of where you should be taking your running backs. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please subscribe and drop a like. And on Friday, we will be dropping the 25 through 50 spots, and that'll be it. I'm not going past 50 spots because after that's just kind of
50 is going to be hard.
Yeah,
Jeez.
just even getting to 50 is going to be hard. That's going to be a lot of thinking to do. But moving on, we're going to be posting videos on Tuesdays and Fridays. Yeah. So, this has been the Dynasty Dweebs. Please like and subscribe. Peace.
Peace.